All About the Birds provides you with weekly analysis, game recaps, informative interviews, and it's all birds all the time.
What's up, everybody? We are here. A.J. Brown is no longer a Philadelphia Eagle, so we don't have to really go over too much. We'll discuss it. They get a 2028 first-round pick and a 2027 fifth. Got a lot to talk about here. We haven't been on for a little bit, so going to talk about the A.J. Brown trade, what happened there, the drama and everything that's been circulating and all. Eagles made two signings today with mandatory minicamp wrapping up. They make two additions, two veterans signed. We'll get into that. We'll talk a little bit about the Sean Mannion offense, a couple of different things that they're doing that we're seeing. It's very intriguing. So that should be fun. But again, now the Eagles are off until training camp. So they have a little over a month off. So I think like 5 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's going to be a lot of fun talk of different things that we're going to come up with. But so please stay tuned for that. We're going to discuss that at the end of the show. We have a guest coming on next week as we, plan for the off season and, just get by until training camp starts. But Matt, how are we doing? Finally, A.J. Brown is no longer an Eagle, and we don't have to talk about the what ifs and if it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, because it has happened and it's now over.
It's I'm glad it's over. It sounds like the players are glad it's over. It was a little surprising to hear that from the players, actually, because the Eagles do such a good job of insulating, even though some things get out, right, that there are issues between Hurts and AJ, for example, we never actually saw anything about it or heard anything about it other than occasional whispers. But it was interesting to hear guys like Jordan Mailata say, dude, we're just glad it's over.
Yeah.
No more, just ripped off the Band-Aid. No more, is he going to be here? Is he not going to be here? Is Jalen happy? None of that. And so there seems to be some relief here. I think the fans are somewhat relieved that it's over and we can just kind of move on. AJ's a hell of a player, but he's doing a great job of burning bridges on his way out. It's actually pretty surprising to see the way that he's talked about his time here and how New England was his real preferred destination. And he grew up there. He had the man cave. He had the man cave rug in his basement that's Patriots that he told – apparently on his visit here, his top 30 visit, he told them to take down a picture of the Patriots losing the Super Bowl, our first Super Bowl.
Yeah, some of that stuff's kind of weird. It's a little.
He did a really great job of rubbing us the wrong way on the way out, and I don't think he's going to get a warm welcome when he comes back. It'll be interesting to see the mixed reviews, but bottom line is we're moving on. The fans are moving on. The team can finally move on. The drama's over, thankfully.
So the way that, seeing everything, hearing certain things, knowing what's true and really what's not true, some of the stuff's but to me, it's just the way that the last year and a half or so has gone with, his antics and everything like that. To me, it's, you win the Super Bowl, that's not good enough. Is that because you didn't have 100 receiving yards and didn't dominate the game? And it's you can't have it both ways.
Right.
What happens when you're in New England and you get 1,300 receiving yards and 8-9 touchdowns and you go 10-7 and lose in the first round? You can be satisfied because I'm in New England. I'm where I want to be. I'm to me, it's you want to be this superstar and you want to have all these stats and win too. It all started with the Saquon stuff and Saquon breaking, records and doing all this stuff and AJ catching, not getting all the type of targets that he wants and everything. And it's just, to me, it's on the edges. Is that Super Bowl not worth it? To me, what is it?
What are you playing for?
I just don't understand. And I think too is like the one thing on that I had sent you and I wanted to go over was Jeff McClain put a pretty decent explanation here, talking about Jalen Hurts addressing the AJ Brown trade, ESPN story from April, and his contract, and other topics today in his press conference. And a couple of stuff here I want to bring up on AJ Brown trade, and Brown saying they weren't as close, but he wishes him all the best. And Jalen straight up said, "I'm not in the place to challenge anyone's perspective on anything." Seemingly so, it was. That's where I am. I've always been focused on the collective. I've always been, I've always put my energy towards that. As a leader, I've always put an onus on giving maximum effort to achieve and shared mission we have on the team. Any disappointment in how it ended for AJ with the Eagles, you come into it and you have the sense of pride with how it began, and definitely what we were able to accomplish. Nothing can take that away for the great things that we did. Now it's time to focus achieving great things with this iteration of the team. On the ESPN story characterizing Hurts as being resistant to change, among other things, and he goes, I've never really asked for an opportunity to respond to anything, so just let it live and go do my job. And then asked if the 4 verticals play last season, that last play, if he was the one that called it, and he said, no. And then on his being resistant to change, I'm always open to growth. I'm always open to improving. I think a lot of it is what we put our time on task, what we are exhausting, what we are repping. And so I'm looking forward to seeing how training camp goes so we can just continue to build on the foundation that we are beginning to lay down. And then his contract, he goes, for me, I truly focus on being the best I can be right now. That's where my energy is. There's a lot of change as is. I'm focused on this offense. I'm focused on building with Sean and being my best. So, there was a lot, talking about.
Lot to unpack there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, to me, it's just like the AJ thing, they were close, and just, sometimes the way you look at it is this. Sometimes working with somebody who's a friend is not very easy than if you're friends with them. And the thing about it is, like,
never go to business with friends.
AJ's even said, but I think the thing of it is AJ's even said he doesn't have friends. Like, he's even kind of like mentioned that, like, and again, I don't know, like I'm going to be very interested to see Jalen and DeVonta's, because they've played together. They've been on the Philadelphia Eagles since 2021. So it's not like they've got so much together, and the way that
they played together in college too.
I think the way that they're wired, DeVonta and Jalen are wired so much similarly than how AJ's wired.
Yeah.
AJ and DK Metcalf are wired very similarly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And, you look at a team like the Seattle Seahawks, who had DK Metcalf, let him go, and they win the Super Bowl. Not saying that's why they win the Super Bowl, but they kind of changed things. They changed things around. They took JSN and made him the focal point of the offense, with a veteran Cooper Kupp adding him to the fold. Eagles won a Super Bowl with AJ Brown, so it's not like they didn't. But, at the time, the way this offense is and the way that Sean Mannion coming in, I think it's suited a lot better for DeVonta and company than it would be if, AJ's on the team, with a lot of things that you hear. And again, with what happened with AJ.
And the ironic thing is that, so like the big thing that's rubbing me the wrong way is the whole AJ admitting to releasing stuff to the media. Like that blows my mind that A, he did it, and B, then admitted to it. That was shocking to me. I mean, it wasn't shocking to me that it was him. It was shocking to me to do it.
Did he say that, or was that, because I don't know, I thought I saw something going around was an AI clip that was doctored.
No, he said it.
No, he did say it. Okay.
He said it. He said that was a way to make changes in the decision.
I see. This is where he talks about mental health and talks about all this kind of stuff, yet he then throws his teammates and outs people and goes to the media and talks, dirty essentially.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that doesn't line up.
And he also goes out and says, Jalen doesn't want to change. He doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want motion in the offense. And I've heard from 3 different people over the last couple of weeks, just digging in on what's being said. And like people that are close to the organization that have said that Jalen wants to be coached hard. He wants changes. He's asking for changes. And you can see the difference in the way that he talks about Mannion and Grizzard as opposed to how he talked about Brian Johnson even, but especially, Patillo. And then those same people tell me that it was AJ that was hesitant to go into motion. And I think we talked about this on the last pod, but like he wants to play that true X position. He doesn't want to move. He doesn't feel like he has to move. He wants to dominate the man in front of him. And like, while that's awesome, and I get that and I respect it, you can see it. Like if all these things that are coming out about AJ and his reluctance to do certain things, his unwillingness to do certain things, in hindsight, you can see it. Like if you go back and if you went into NFL Plus and pulled all of the plays where AJ went in motion, he goes into motion and just that's it. He just hangs out in the flats. And it's just like he just wasn't bought in, and that's fine. It's similar to what the new GM of the Sixers said. We want people that want to win. We want people that want to win. We want people that want to play as a team. We want competitors. And, and that's what they're bringing in. They're bringing in guys like Wicks. They're bringing in guys like Hollywood Brown. They already have, competitive people on the planet. I think Cooper DeJean might be the most competitive dude on the planet. And so I'm excited to see where this goes. And we've said addition by subtraction. I wish him the best. I hope he has a great time in New England. But like he's soon to be 30. His knee is on borrowed time. And the fact that we were able to get a 1 and a 5 for him is quite honestly astonishing.
Yeah. And, it's a 2028 one, so you don't get it next year to get it the year after. And again,
but Howie doesn't give a shit because like that could turn into a 27-1.
Yeah.
Right? Like if he packages, let's say we get, just for a round number, let's say we get the 20th overall pick and we want to put 10, for a stud edge rusher, we package our 28-1 and number 20, that gets you up to 10. And like it gives Howie flexibility. He can either go into 28 with 2 1s, depending on how that draft is rounding up, or he uses it to trade for a stud. He uses it to trade up in the draft. Like he just gave himself optionality because he is okay with taking future 1s as opposed to other teams that don't really value it like that.
Well,
until it's time to get one, which is fine.
I think too, and people saying, "Oh, well, 21 is like a 2." It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It's literally a 1.
And I think 2 is when you're looking at a 2028 1.
Yeah.
Like the thing with Howie is he's got job security, so he can go and trade for a pick not next drafted.
Yeah. I think I lost you.
So
again, Johnny.
Yeah, you're good. We're good here. But no, I just think Howie can trade for a 2028 1 and not have to worry about his job. So, and I think that's also helps the Eagles, and it's helped them with a lot of things. Look at this past season. The third round pick they had from the Jets was the Hassan Reddick trade that happened back in 2024.
Yeah.
So again, it's the same thing.
Well, and look, they have Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter because they were willing to take future 1s.
Yep.
That's a really good point though. Like Howie's job security allows him to make moves like this that Not many other GMs. But with that being said, if it's all right with you, I'm going to put a bow on the AJ Brown stuff. I'm tired of talking about it.
Yeah.
Wish him well. I'm excited about the new wide receiver core. We'll talk a little bit about that today, but let's dive into some of the other transactions that we made last week. So today, news broke. We had 5 transactions today. So AJ Epineza, edge rusher on the Bills, former second rounder out of Iowa. He's 6'5", 260. I believe that makes him the largest edge rusher we have, right?
Yeah, I probably would say that you're probably correct there.
Other than Shoyanka, and we'll get to that. 24 career sacks, 2.5 last year. You and I were talking before we came on. He's not a pure edge rusher, but he's good at setting the edge. It's something that Fangio obviously covets. He's got a little bit of athleticism, not as much as a Shoyanka or a Jalix Hunt, obviously. But he's got that connection. DeVonta put out a nice tweet today about the connections of these 2 signings, and I forgot that Mike Pellegrino was part of the organization coming from the Bills.
Yeah.
And so he's got that connection. You and I chatted about this before we came on, and I reached out to a couple other people too to get their like litmus test on this, but this signing makes me think that Shoyanka's out of here. He's been a no-show at OTAs. He was the only person that did not show up to mandatory minicamp. Like, it makes me feel like we have another Miles Jack situation here where he signed here. We picked up other people at his position. He doesn't see a clear path to playing time and wants to either retire or be released.
I don't know. It's a really weird dynamic here.
But it's another one of those, like, take a flyer on former pedigree, right? He's a former second round pick. Some had him pegged as a first round pick. Those Iowa boys, these corn-fed, big, slow defensive ends. Like, we'll see how he fits here. I don't know if that means that Brandon Graham will not be back. But it certainly, to me, signals that Shoyanka might be out of here.
Yeah, I probably would say the same thing. It's interesting too. I would have expected maybe with these moves that they would have cut Shoyanka as one of them, but they cut the 2 linebackers and Isaiah King and Chandler Martin.
I wonder if he goes on the reserved retired list this week.
Okay, that could be, but then that'll also free up a roster spot for them too. Now, again, they're not practicing or anything, so roster spot can go to anybody. I think also we have to talk about, when we talk about these 2 veterans signings, Michael Jordan, the guard from
the GOAT,
he played Tampa Bay, but he's a veteran. He's had a lot of time. He's been on multiple practice squads, rosters, 53-man rosters. He's played multiple games, started a good amount of games. So it gives you some depth, which is great. They need that. They need the veteran depth. We've talked about that in previous shows. And you also have to bring up too is the undrafted free agent signing of Zion Wilson, the defensive tackle, who was trying to transfer up to play at Virginia, but that was denied. So essentially became a undrafted free agent to sign with anyone, and the Eagles scooped up and got him. He's only played, I believe, a year and a half at defensive tackle because he started out as offensive lineman for East Carolina.
Yeah, so he played 3 years at East Carolina as an offensive tackle. They switched him to D tackle, and he blew up.
Yeah.
He had like 7.5 sacks and like 10 tackles for a loss, like 43 tackles, something like that. Like he just like came out of nowhere. And with that, wanted to transfer to Virginia. He was denied a 6-year of eligibility. And because of that, he goes to Raiders. He goes to free agency, and they essentially get him as a UDFA, which is wild. Kind of a crazy story, really, when you think about it. I'm interested to see him play in the preseason, see if
And he's a big boy, 6'3", 316. So he's not a small kid. He's a pretty big defensive tackle.
Yeah. Small offensive tackle, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know, and with a corresponding move, they released Chandler Martin for like the third time in 2 weeks.
They keep just
he's the new Julian Vandervelde. Isaiah King was also released. And another interesting roster move is that Zadarius Smith was released from the reserve retired list.
So he's free to sign with whoever, which, again, you can potentially see. I know I mentioned before we came on, I could see a team like Green Bay because Micah Parsons probably won't play for the first handful of weeks, and they're pretty low on their edge rusher.
What about the
depth chart? What
about the Browns? Another former Zadarius Smith team. They just lost their stud edge rusher. Maybe they're looking for help there.
Possibility. It's going to be interesting to see. And to me, them releasing him off of that screams he's going to sign with somebody, or he has interest somewhere.
He asked for it. Yeah. Or maybe he wants to sign with the Packers and retire with the Packers. Like, who knows? There could be multiple reasons for that, but I think you're right. Like, that's an indication that he still wants to play.
It's interesting because when you take a look at Green Bay, Lucas Van Ness, Parsons, it won't be starting right away. Then they have Brenton Cox, Baron Sorrell, Stennis Sutton, Aaron Mosby, Colin Oliver. They don't have much of anything, to be honest with you. And they also have Christian Welch can play a little outside backer, but he's more of a inside backer. And again, they can also play Edgerrin Cooper a little bit outside on rush downs and stuff like that with Isaiah McDuffie in the inside there because they did get Zaire Franklin. But you look at a team like that, and like we've mentioned Josh Sweat and wanting out of Arizona. Green Bay seems to be the logical fit with their depth. Their depth is hurting. When you take a look at it, they got a lot of young players and a lot of unproven.
Their starters,
players. Yeah.
Let alone their depth. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Iowa defensive ends, Lucas Van Ness is another big body boy. So I'm really interested to see what Epinesa brings. That's a very interesting aspect of the roster here. So we'll see.
I want to see how his skill set fits, right? Like, you look at the other defensive ends we have, and they all have this like athleticism and like proven track record of dropping into coverage, right? Like Jalix was a former safety. Nolan Smith did a ton at Georgia.
Listen,
Bernard did it.
I did post an interception from Epinesa dropping back and getting a pick from Andy Dalton.
Well, it's funny that you say that because like he doesn't. When you look at the box score, or when you think about Epinesa, you think of him as not a pass rush specialist. He's more of an edge,
a power edge,
a run down, neutral down, set the edge kind of guy. But he also, I think, if I read this correctly, I maybe fact check me real quick, but I'm pretty sure they said that he led the team in pass deflections.
So last year he had 4 pass deflections.
Defensive end, yeah.
He has 21 total in 6 years.
Yeah, I mean he gets his hand on a lot of balls. So I mean he is 6'6". So
he had 2 interceptions last year and 2 interceptions in 23.
There you go. So who knows? Maybe
24 sacks. He only had 2.5 last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's 6.5 the previous 3 years.
Yeah.
So.
It's an interesting one. I'm very interested to see how he fits in Fangio's system and if they ask him to drop.
And he had 2 pass deflections in 2 games in the playoffs. So in total, he had 6 pass deflections last year.
He's got a hell of a wingspan. Yeah. And then there were a couple interesting tryout players too, if you want to get into those. Some big body guys, James Proche, Bryce Ford Wheaton, and Joaquin Davis at wide receiver. All of them, I think, are over 6'3".
I like
6'2".
I like Bryce Ford Wheaton. Big body. I think he's like 6'4".
Yeah,
220. Can play specials. He's been hurt the last couple of years.
That's my question, because like you look at the depth chart now, and you're thinking they keep probably 6, right? So you're looking at DeVonta, you're looking at Wicks, You're looking at Brown, right? And then after that, you have Johnny Wilson, who's been getting a ton of first team and second team reps. You got Darius Cooper. You got Elijah Moore, who got first team reps today. With Smith out. You've got Britton Covey, Mekhi Lemon. Like, that's 8 right there before you even get to some of these other guys. So maybe I could see them pushing for like a practice squad spot, but at this point, I'm just thinking anyone outside of those top 6 or 7 are just preseason bodies.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
They're most likely. We have so many tight ends and wide receivers. I think we've got 30 between or is it 30? It might be close to at least 20 between the two positions.
I think it's close to the 20 range.
I think we have 13 and 7, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And the thing too is, you're not gonna have a spot on the 53, but you're trying to work for a practice squad spot because you just never know, and if you can work your way to get a spot there, you can work your way into some playing time if there's injuries and stuff. So there's a lot that goes there. It's what's going to make training camp and the preseason fun, because to me, I think the bottom end of the roster, there's a lot of maneuvering that could happen. It also could happen with some of the players where, they were recent later draft picks that potentially could be off the roster if they don't show up and somebody overtakes them. So there's going to be a lot of that this offseason, training camp, and preseason.
Yeah. And then another tryout, which we still haven't had confirmation on. Marlon Tuipulotu was back at training camp or at minicamp, I guess, on a tryout basis. There's been nothing from the team about it. There was nothing about Joaquin Davis either. Like, we only heard from James Proche and Bryce Ford-Wheaton. Never. Shout out to DeVonta again for sleuthing the shit out of whoever Joaquin Davis was. There was no indication about who these people were, and no press release or communication about Marlon being on there either until Martin Frank tweeted out a picture that he was back in some capacity. So another name to keep an eye on, because they're obviously looking for defensive tackle depth.
The interesting thing is,
what is the interesting?
Marlon Tuipulotu, of course, was drafted by the Eagles in 21. Played a couple seasons with the Eagles, then went to the Chiefs for a couple years, and he has no Super Bowl rings.
That's almost impossible.
So from 21 to 23 was with Philly. Of course, they lost Super Bowl in 22.
Yeah.
And then 24 and 25 were with the Chiefs, and the Chiefs lost Super Bowl in 24.
Wow. So maybe he's bad luck. Keep him away.
Maybe
he's the anti-Darian Kennard.
And right. And then it looks like he did sign a reserve futures contract with the New York Giants and was released on May 7th.
Weird.
So,
and for anybody listening, a lot of these things are just the Eagles doing their due diligence in case there's an injury.
No doubt.
The practice squad, these are guys that they'll keep an eye on them, because similar to what we saw with Michael Jordan,
and he's been here before. It's the same thing with Quez Watkins. Quez Watkins came back. Isn't he on the roster now still?
He is.
Yeah.
He's walking 86, which makes me want to throw up.
Oh boy.
But anyway, it's they're just trying to do their due diligence. They're keeping a file of guys that they may want to sign to the practice squad if there's injuries or if someone gets poached and things like that. I want to talk about some of these injuries too. Smitty was dismissed today for personal reasons. Markel Bell showed up today as out. He had a sleeve on his right leg. Same thing with Eli Stout.
My thing with Bell is he's not signed yet, so I guess he still can be in minicamp and stuff and still participate.
That's up to him. It's up to him and his agent. And it was smart. It was smart to not hold out because he's getting second team reps, sometimes first when Lane's not there.
Yeah, he did practice yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah. Today he popped up with a leg. I think they're just being overly cautious. Obviously,
Yeah.
Mekhi Lemon has been out with a hamstring.
Mhm.
They're not going to push that. Eli Stowers was seen with a sleeve on his leg today. I know a lot of people are bitching about him not showing up in OTAs and minicamp. Like,
Oh,
dude, it's June 10th. Like,
shirts and shorts.
let's chill the out, right? Like, you're in shorts and pads. He's a rookie. He's trying to learn a system. Like, let's relax. I think it's pretty funny. Jahad Campbell still nursing the shoulder. We knew that he wasn't going to play until training camp. Grant Calcaterra, he's an interesting guy.
Boy, are you coming around on him now because
no,
of the new offensive coordinator?
I hope he gets cut tomorrow, but he is on the team, and he's an interesting guy because I don't know how much they like him. Right, like he's kind of a duplicative skill set to like an Eli Stowers. Like Stowers is not known as a blocker. That's something he can certainly work on because Goddard wasn't a blocker coming out either. But like Munt is a blocker. Goddard's a blocker. Stowers probably isn't yet. He could be. He's a big dude. Wright is a blocker or can be a blocker. Like, and Goddard came out this week and was like, you have to block in this offense.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see if he falls out of favor because he was signed. They brought him back. They obviously like him.
Yeah.
He was drafted here. So he's one of those interesting guys that like could kind of squeak onto the 53 regardless of how shitty he plays in the preseason. Because he's still a good receiver. You can't deny that. Like, not even I don't like the dude, but he's still a good receiver. He makes some outstanding catches. Chandler Martin didn't practice today. He got cut. Britton Covey, another interesting guy. Like, where is he going to fit? Is he only a punt returner? They don't have anybody else on the roster that can return punts, right?
Well, Smitty, but they're not going to do that.
Well, Smitty and Coop are not going to touch punt return.
No.
Well, like, I'm interested to watch that too. Like, where do they, if they keep 6 receivers, like who do you know what I mean? Like, it's going to make that decision really tough. And like last year, they put him on a practice squad and called him up for 3 games. But how long can you do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or you got to also remember, if you cut him, there's a chance he could be claimed. You never know there. Like, most of the time,
that's such an interesting
players
point.
Aren't claimed. But again, this could be the time where a team has a punt returner go down and be like, hey, let's get him on our 53. Or, now I know he was with them before.
The Rams.
Exactly. You see the Rams being like, you know what? We're going to be spiteful. The Willie Lampkin thing.
Yeah.
Not that they need him on the team or anything like that. Not they don't. I think they have punt returner, but you never know if there's an injury there. So there's injuries all over the NFL. So
that's one position that I would keep an eye on.
Yeah,
at punt returner, because that's going to make the wide receiver position really interesting. Because if they're probably going to keep 6, like I said. But if they keep 7, that means you go light on offensive line.
It seems like the Packers always, and I don't want to just because Mannion was there, it doesn't mean the team's going to be run like the Packers. But with the way that offense is, I wouldn't be surprised if they keep 7 receivers.
Yeah, but only because Covey is a punt returner.
Yeah,
I don't know. That to me, like, I was playing through Madden and making the roster, and I'm looking at the depth chart on our lads, looking at the and how they're going to keep that punt return / wide receiver position is going to be super fascinating, because it's gonna have a trickle down effect to other positions where they'll have to go light. And that's really it. Carson Steele was again not practicing today, and Tucker Large is on reserve IR. And then a couple guys were practicing but not doing team drills, notably Jalen Carter. We'll get to that in a second. Jonathan Bernard, Cole Wisniewski, and Drew Kendall. So a lot of hoopla has been made about this Jalen Carter stuff, about him not practicing in team drills but doing everything else.
Mm-hmm.
that screams contract, right?
Yeah, to me, I think it's more of a contract thing.
Yeah, it's unless they're being hesitant with the shoulder stuff. Like I could see that as well, and maybe it's a little bit of both. Maybe they're like, why rush it? Give him an extra month to, recoup and not separate it or whatever. I don't know what his exact issue was, but I could see it maybe being a little bit of that. But I would assume that there's a contract extension coming before training camp.
Yeah.
If I'm reading the tea leaves here.
So going back a little, well, staying on defensive side of the ball, but going back a little bit to what you were saying, it's going to be interesting because Epinesa usually wears 57, and 57 right now is
isn't it?
Shoyanka. So that's an interesting thing. I don't want to see Epinesa wearing 45 or anything like that because, of course, 91's not given out.
Right.
So,
and 94 is young.
94 is young. 96 is Gabe Hall. 95 is Ty Robinson. 93. 97 is Ojimo, 98 is Carter, 90 Davis, of course. 92 is Reggie White.
Give him 92. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's not.
He wore 97 and 94 at Iowa. He wore 57 with the Bills. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if JTS, whatever the hell his name is, I wouldn't be surprised if he's put on reserve retired or released. Something's happening with him. I hope he's okay. I hope there's not like a family emergency or anything like that, but there was he's excused for personal reasons or anything. Like, I think he's not going to be with the Eagles.
Yeah.
One thing I want to get into, if we have time, are some of the offensive line combinations.
Yeah, we could talk some of those and then wrap it up. That's fine. We could do that.
So we have our standard first round or first team, Jordan, Dickerson, Juergens, Steen, Lane. Everybody seems to look good, look healthy. I saw Dickerson doing some drills. Looked really nice. His feet look nice. He looked like he's lost weight, like I said. Juergens was talking a little bit about getting that extra rest today, the stem cell stuff that he had in Medellin, which is hilarious. And then interesting second team from left to right. You had Markel Bell switching to the left side. Not today because he was out, but yesterday. Markel Bell on the left side. Miles Hinton at left guard, which we touched on. Jake Majors at second team center. John Ojukwu, who was playing right guard, who was most recently playing left tackle, I believe, with the second team. And then you have Fred Johnson at right tackle. So a little bit of a swap with Markel Bell and Fred Johnson. And then
I like the third team line, though.
Ojukwu is showing a little bit of versatility there, which is something to keep an eye on, man. They seem to really like him. And then that third team is just like the all what if team, right? You've got Holland Pierce, who's like a mountain. Jaden Roberts, the undrafted guy out of Bama at left guard. You got little pop squat Willie Lampkin at center. He's going to be an interesting guy to watch this preseason.
Yeah.
What is he? 5th round pick? Micah Morris,
yep.
From Georgia. And then Cameron Williams, who went way down the totem pole here at Tech. So really interesting, just to keep an eye. Obviously, it's mini camp. There's not a ton to glean from this at this point. They're just trying shit out. But keep an eye on this position. It's going to be an interesting one heading into training camp to see where people can show their versatility.
Yeah, because
go ahead.
Because look, Cooper, the offensive line coach, you don't know like the favorites, the Stoutland favorites that you had, or the guys they had from Stoutland, the guys they drafted last year. You don't know where they're going to fall with the way he coaches and what he thinks and how he feels. You could see some of the undrafted guys maybe work their way above, or guys that they signed, or people that they think, okay, I think this guy has a little more, little more in the bank than these other guys do. I think I can get more out of this guy than that guy. So it's going to be very interesting to see where it goes. And then, they signed Mike Jordan from the Bucs and everything, who's played with Grizzard and has a little bit of a familiarity with the offense and stuff like that. So that.
Froze up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's time to maybe end this.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Anything you wanted to add in there?
No, I don't have. I was talking about just the veteran they just added, but I'll leave it with that. But I'll let you say with maybe if you want to announce the guests for next week, and then we're working on confirming a couple things, but next week we are going to try to get the equipment guru himself from Madden 27 and Madden's prior to talk a little bit about how it works, how the magic happens, the behind the scenes, how they get the equipment into the game. He and I did a little work together over the last couple of years, just collecting all the face masks that are in the game. It's been a lot of fun to work with him. So he's going to come on the show next week. I'll put out a post probably on Monday, just asking you to send us some of your questions that you guys might have. Feel free to jump onto YouTube, onto X, ask questions live. We'll have a little chat with the equipment guru himself. And we might have a couple fun surprises. We don't know, but really looking forward to that because for anyone out there that's a Madden fan, it's a big year for equipment. If you're a guy like me that's obsessed with the helmets and the hanging mouth guards that you're seeing on that picture of AJ on the screen, and some of the cool stuff that we've been asking for years that aren't as easy to put in the game as you would think. It's really cool to see how much attention, how much effort they put into listening to the community and truly adding to the authenticity. So I'm really pumped to talk to him about that. And if you guys, again, have any questions that you want us to ask him, throw them our way. Very excited. It's good stuff. Should be a fun show. Yeah. But with that, as we always say, make sure you're following us.
Follow us on X, on Instagram, YouTube, subscribe. You cut out there a little bit, so I was picking up.
It's okay. That's fine. But make sure we're doing all of that. And any questions, of course, you know where to find us. You know how to contact us. But as we always end it with a very happy and joyful Go Birds.
Hey guys, it's Davo. Some people call me Davo Philly. I'm here with Big Dom. And check out All About the Birds. Go Birds.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Ian. Make sure you're following All About the Birds. I absolutely love their content.
Just wanted to give the guys over at All About the Birds a huge shout out.
Hey, for all the Eagle content you need, go follow All About the Birds. They do a damn thing. Check them out.
Hey Eagles fans, I may be in Tampa, but I know where to find the best Eagles content out there. Check out my friends at All About the Birds.
Philadelphia, what's up? This your boy Freddie Mitchell, a.k.a. Fred X. It's all about the birds.
All birds all the time. All birds all the time.